Good morning, and also very close to the good afternoon also. It's a beautiful morning. I started this day. What a beautiful day. And it made even more beautiful that all of us are here as discussing about, emerging IT technology opportunity for industry and state. So I'm taking this opportunity to open this session, and the theme is emerging IT technologies, opportunity for industry and state. As you are aware, IT, ITeS and ESDM sector has been identified as a thrust sector by the state of Punjab with an aim to transition from agri-driven to a technology-driven economy, thereby making Punjab the next IT, ITeS hub of India. The state government is dedicatedly promoting this sector by offering special incentives and implementing state policy initiatives that supports the industry. We've also seen these emerging technologies like blockchain, IoT, data analytics, robotics are redefining the delivery model for business and government. We have seen more and more governments at state and central, are also started, using these technologies for the delivery model. And this session today is aimed at understanding latest technologies and their impact on creating newer business opportunities, jobs, and overall economic growth. And I must congratulate the entire government of Punjab for making this event such a successful event. A big round of applause for everybody who's been behind this. But it doesn't end here. It's not just the role of the government alone. Government is one of the stakeholders, and it is the industry leaders, the industry itself, so that this entire the expectations around, Invest Punjab become successful. And if each of us come forward and support and lend our hand to the government, a lot magic can happen. I can just give a very quick example. When there was Invest Summit Punjab, Invest Summit in 2015, we had one of the CEOs flying down from US who was going to be speaker sometime in the post-lunch. He landed here from US early morning around 8ish, and I got a call, a friend of mine, he said, Sophie, can we host him for a breakfast in the morning in my office because he's come from US and you are an American company, can you host an American breakfast for him? I said, sure, because since there were 3-4 hours of time between the morning and then his session, I hosted him in Quark and breakfast, and then the next thing for me was, so we spoke about talent, we spoke about Punjab, we spoke about government, we spoke about support. I also spoke about how if you go to the South India, you have several bunds during the year, and in the last 20 years I have not seen a single bund in this state. And the great medical infrastructure, the great education sector, and a great government government hand here support. And then I said, oh, why don't you come and we can show you a small a tour around the Quark city. And that was absolutely not planned. So we took him to the Quark city, and during this walk he said, we are coming to India and we are setting up our shop in Pune. And he was invited as a speaker here. So we went over the breakfast, took him, host him at Quark, and took him and showed him the infrastructure there. And that company eventually signed up 3 months later and came down to Mohali and started with 50-member employees. And today they are staying at 60,000 square feet in Mohali at Quark City. That's what happened, the magic on that breakfast. And that was just one breakfast, and I can't thank him enough. Thank Atul Gandhi, who is the partner of KPMG. He was the guy who called me, can you host a breakfast? And we have Bungi here. And I think all I could host a small breakfast, and it turned out to be a great opportunity for the state of Punjab. So I'm saying how all of us could come together, and the power of A plus B square is always A square, B square, and 2AB. Government, organizations, leaders of the industry can come together and make this Invest Punjab successful going forward. Now, before I move on, before I fall in love with this mic, I invite our session chair, Mr. Anirudh Tiwari, IS Principal Secretary, Department of Finance, Punjab, for introduction to the theme, and he'll be presenting on Punjab as an upcoming IT ESDM destination and incentives government is offering to this. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Anirudh Tiwari, please. Please.
And thanks, Ruud, for sharing this lovely story, because it's a matter of great personal satisfaction for me, because during the Investment Summit 2015, I happened to be the CEO for Punjab, and I had led the summit. So I'm so glad that a lot of times I'm asked this question, ये summits करते हैं, इनमें कुछ होता भी है, या सिर्फ मेला ही है? Does something happen after that? Do investments really fructify? Do things happen? Do people get into partnerships? Yes, sir, it happens. Here's an example. Here you have, and trust me, I heard this story for the first time 15 minutes ago when we were waiting in the holding area. And I was, happy to hear it again in front of all of you. So this is the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Here you have the industry partnerships which stem out of these business summits. I can narrate to you n number of stories based on my 3 years at Invest Punjab, but that's not the purpose of this session today. Today I'm here only to set the context for the wonderful opportunities for the industry that you have in the IT sector in the state of Punjab today. Now, you see, another thing that I always talk when I look at these summits, incidentally, this is the third summit in running for me. So I was involved in 2013, 15, and now here we are again 19. Which is, and you see, if you see that on the dais today, you only have the industry and you have the government sitting in the audience, it is with the purpose, it is with an objective, it is not accidental. And the purpose is that today the government is here to listen to the industry. We are here to listen. We have all gathered here together, not as government to pontificate to the industry, not to advertise ourselves and just talk about ourselves, but to listen from you. And you all have seen the kind of policy changes that come about after these interactions. After 13, after 15, we did have a lot of policy changes. In the run-up to this summit, we have had tremendous feedback from the industry, and the government of Punjab, the Department of Industries and Investment Promotion, has carried out so many policy changes to facilitate investments into Punjab. And even this summit primarily is to take your feedback, to hear from you, to listen to the industry and see what we can do more. And you see, when we always talk to the industry first of all looks at where is it that you're going to invite me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I'm not sure how many of you are from Delhi, how many of you live here, but if you have been living in Delhi and you are here today, please look at the AQI of Delhi and Chandigarh today. It is half. It is half, ladies and gentlemen, it is half of what it is in Delhi. And thankfully, we are not burning any stubble today. So I blame that is a doorstep. Please check it out. Today, there's no stubble burning happening. It's over. But still, if Delhi is at twice the AQI, there's some reason behind it. This place, Chandigarh and Punjab, it's a beautiful place to live in. If you are in Mohali, if you are in Chandigarh, you are at the foothills of the Shivalik, wonderful weather here that you have. And apart from that, the living environment that we offer in terms of the education facilities, because ultimately what industry, when it comes here, is it actually looks at its employees, especially for an industry which is more intensive in terms of manpower rather than capital, which is the IT industry. When it is looking at its people, it is looking at hosting its people into this part of the country. It's looking at what are the kind of facilities in terms of education, in terms of living, in terms of healthcare. We have the top class health institutes. We have the top class education institutes in the country. And of course, subsequently, the industry really looks at what is the kind of infrastructure that the state offers to have. So, if I can say, we have the highest road density in India. Now, somebody from the IT sector would say, how do I care about road density? I would fly into Mohali. I don't have to go into interiors. But sir, we also have the highest tele-density in India. And it is in Punjab that every single village in Punjab has 4G fiber connectivity. We were the first state to get it. Thanks to Reliance Jio, we were the first state to get that connectivity. In terms of infrastructure, we are a power surplus state. We have uninterrupted power. And this government, since 2017, has announced a fixed power tariff of rupees 5 per unit for 5 years. This is the cheapest power, uninterrupted, quality, cheapest power. And you know, a lot of people in this industry would also be looking at, fine, you are giving me abundant power, you are giving me cheap power, but is the quality of power good? I'm sure all of you understand. I mean, you are working with expensive equipment. What is the quality of power? The kind of investments that the state made to improve the quality of power is immense. I mean, we were the ones who first of all got the first 400 kV ring main system on the transmission side. So our power actually flows along a 400 kV ring main highway. We are the only state in the country to have it, which means that you actually have uninterrupted power source. If power loops out from one side, we can loop it in from the other side. That's the kind of infrastructure we have. So we've got connectivity. We've got a beautiful system to. Can I have the presentation on? I'm sorry, didn't get it on. I thought we were moving with it. Yeah, and of course, yesterday the Chief Minister also talked about the fact that we are one of the safest states in terms of security. He also, you see, I do recall that at one of the meetings that the Chief Minister had with a delegation of the IT sector, when they met the Chief Minister about 2 years back, people talked about the security, the safety for women employees. You see, for IT sector and for the textile sector, textiles are not, we are not talking about textiles today, but for IT sector also, there are a lot of women employees who have to be kind of taken care of. So the Chief Minister yesterday announced that we have already put in place a safe and secure system for escorting women employees to their workplace and, in case required, back to their home. Right? So today, if you look at the statistics, we are one of the safest states to work in terms of the crime statistics that go around. In terms of the incentives that the state offers, Zoor already mentioned that it is a thrust area for us. I think the policy that was put in place in 2017 by this government, it is one of the most progressive policies anywhere in the country, with the kind of incentives that you have. In fact, when I would talk to industry, people would say that when the industry looks at putting in investments, they look at infrastructure, they look at the environment where they would where they have the living conditions for their employees. They would be looking at the safety aspects, and of course, they're looking at the fiscal incentives that the state has got to offer. So, in terms of fiscal incentives, we were again one of the first states which tweaked its policy when the GST regime came in to say that we shall not, renegade on our promise to provide the tax exemptions, the tax refunds and the tax retention to the industry. And we actually tweaked our system to ensure that even when the GST came in, we continued with the agreement that we had with the industry on retention of tax incentives. And today, even as you have the GST regime in place, the state has modified its policy to ensure that whatever GST that you paid is immediately refunded to you in terms of the incentives. We've also got incentives on employment generation support to you for your employees. We've also got the other incentives in terms of exemptions to CLU, to electricity duty, etc. So it's a whole gamut of incentives that we have packaged in our industry's policy. If I would say that in terms of the specific destination, we have been talking about Mohali, and the reason for that is that Mohali today is probably one of the only places in this country where you have such a huge center pool of academic institutions. I'm very happy to have Professor Das, who's the director of IIT Report, as one of our panelists. I mean, his is one of the best institutions in the region and in the country today. And they are in the holding area, and we were kind of just discussing. He and one of the other co-panelists actually talking about the latest technologies in artificial intelligence that is happening, the research that is happening. So here you have the academia and the industry actually collaborating and working together on modern day technologies. You have, in terms of science, we have ISER, we have the Nanoscience Technology Institute of Nanoscience Technology, the only one of its kind in the country. We have the National Agri-Biotechnology Institute, we have the IMTech, we have NIPER, And of course, we have the Indian School of Business, our host institution here. So actually, I do not think that within a 5 square kilometer of area, if you would, I mean, sorry, sir, you would probably be another 30 kilometers from here, but you would have such a concentrated pool of academic institutions which would be in a position to provide to you this high quality manpower that this industry would be looking at. So what we are here is we are offering you infrastructure. You've got a beautiful, I'm sure some of you who would have reached Mohali by the new international airport. We've got fantastic infrastructure here in terms of the connectivity by air. I talked to you about the IT connectivity, the road connectivity, the power, the infrastructure that we have. And of course, you know, just as probably a kilometer as the crow flies, we have the IT city here. Infosys is already there. We have Samir from Infosys about their center that's coming up in the IT city. They were actually the first ones to pick up a chunk of land in IT city. We already have development, full steam development going on in IT city. It is a developed area right next to the airport in the center of an area where you have high quality manpower available. And it's not only high quality manpower that is coming from these institutions, even the other private universities that are around in this in the state are providing a lot of high quality manpower. I see a lot of young students here from Chitkara University, from Chandigarh University, from Lovely University, who are all here to participate in the session. I mean, again, these universities are also churning out very high quality manpower that this industry is in a position to absorb and can take advantage of. And of course, we always have the institutes who have been here for a long time. Semiconductors Lab is again one such institution. It's been here for what I would say since 1985, if I'm not wrong. Incidentally, if I may say, I got my first job offer from Semiconductors Limited when I graduated. I was in the final year of my engineering. So I always have a very slight soft corner for semiconductors. It's a beautiful campus, and it's a wonderful institution. It was one of its kind when it came up, and I'm sure they have now upgraded themselves to respond to challenges of the new technologies, whether it is AI, whether it is blockchain, whether it is machine learning, robotics. I'm sure these are the areas which are the upcoming areas in this in the state today, and the state is really in a position to offer to the industry the right environment for research and development in this field. You see, one thing which I must share with you, a lot of people would not know it, is that defense industry is always a huge consumer of the IT, supporter of the IT industry. Whether it is the US, whether it is Israel, most of the innovation and most of the early stage support to the industry comes from these two sectors. And we are lucky in this area again to have a very, very strong presence of the defense sector. So we've got the TBRL here, the defense laboratories. We've got a very strong presence of the Air Force and the Army, the ordnance factories. They are all collaborating with the local industry. Unfortunately, because of the security reasons, these things don't get publicized. But the industry here, I can tell you, you have a lot of opportunities to work and collaborate with this. I personally have had a lot of interactions with the Air Force and the defense sector. And in case you do, there's any part of the industry which really wants to, again, touch base with them, collaborate with them, we'll be very happy as government to facilitate this. And of course, we do have CDAC, BEL, CDIL. Today, we also have ready-to-use infrastructure for you. I mean, whether it is in the government sector, STI, Mr. Omkar is here. I mean, the biggest center for STI here in India, the biggest center in India is here in Mohali. So there you have plug-and-play infrastructure. Also in the private space, Quark City is there. And of course, a new setup has come at Best Stars. Komal has their office in Best Stars. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I would request you is that please build your future here. I mean, the emerging technologies, you have the customer base in terms of the government looking at to you for some of the consuming some of your products. And of course, we are also willing to support, we are there to support the ESDM sector and others in terms of infrastructure, the land availability, whatever you look at. And finally, let me also wind up by saying that I do recall talking to the CEO of Siemens once, Siemens India, Mr. Sunil Mathur, a great friend. So I asked him, Sunil, what is it that you really look at when you are planning an investment, when you decide on investment? And he said, okay, you start asking me and then I'll stop. I'll stop you if you hit at the right button. I asked infrastructure. He says, go on. I said, living conditions. He said, go on. I said, incentives. He said, go on. And when I said ease of doing business, he said, that's it. He says the industry goes to a place for investment where you have ease of doing business. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Punjab has been recognized by the Government of India, the World Bank, as the place where it is the easiest to start and do your business. In their EODB rankings, we, in the Invest Punjab institution, was recognized as the best model. Yesterday, you had Mr. Deepak Bagla from Invest India talk about this, this thing, and also talked about replication of this model. So, without taking much time, I know, I've taken slightly longer than what I was allotted, but this was my time to advertise about the state. So this is the state to come in. This is the state to invest. We are there for you. We are also here to listen to you. What is it that we can do more to help you set your business? And rest assured, once you come to Invest Punjab, you are in safe hands. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. This was a wonderful presentation. Greatly appreciate, it's one of the experiences, for 30 seconds I share, we've been hiring a lot of folks from across India. And my recruiting manager came out with very interesting postulates 2 weeks back. He said, we are receiving lots of applications to this region, which was unlike 3-4 years back. And when we investigated what were those top 2 reasons for receiving great applications for very core engineering pieces, it came out of 2 top reasons. One was health. People wanted to move to a place where they can breathe freely, where their children and their parents can breathe freely. The second came safety. People want to move into the places where they can find the safe havens. And I want to inform all of you here that Mohali and this part of the world is rated as the lowest cognizable rates in the country, and Uttar Pradesh at the highest, and we are the lowest rated in the cognizable crime. So these are the 2 findings which came through speaking to my recruiting manager. Let me invite Mr. Sameer Goyal, Senior Vice President Infosys. I think there's a hell lot of experience which he has being in this region. He was the person who incepted and gave birth to Infosys here, and now we have a new center coming in. So, Sameer, may I join? Please join in welcoming Sameer here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks, Sophie. So finally, we moved to good afternoon by the time my turn came. It's always a pleasure to speak on Progressive Punjab event. As a born Punjabi, to get an opportunity to talk about Punjab, the land where I've lived most of my life, I think this is an opportunity which I'm always continuously looking forward to. Infosys came in this region in 2000, and we are here in this region since the last 19 years. I have spent 16 years of my career in Infosys. So whatever I'm going to talk over the next 5-10 minutes will come from those 18-20 years of experience in this region. So it's not based on what we have experienced last month, what we have experienced last 6 months. We have a huge experience of working from here for last 18 years. And while we are talking of the pollution and we are talking of health and all, I want to remind we came to this region in 2000 when maybe Delhi was not that polluted as it is today. But we still chose Mohali to come here. The airport which we are talking so much was not functional at that time, but still we chose Mohali to come here. The Progressive Punjab event, which invites all the companies, was obviously not happening there. And it was a Y2K era. Nobody was talking of machine learning, but still we chose to come here. And the primary reason for us to come here was to actually look at employees with huge learnability, with their entrepreneurial skills. I think the Punjabi spirit, the kind of employees which we are able to hire. In 2000, you don't know what technologies will come. You don't know what skills you will need. But you know one thing, that you need employees who have desire to succeed. जिसने अपने मन को बोला हुआ है कि यार मैंने ज़िंदगी में कामयाब होना है, वो चाहे जाके कनाडा जाके कामयाब होना है, चाहे यहाँ रह के कामयाब होना है, चाहे मशीन लर्निंग सीख के कामयाब होना है, चाहे Y2K करके कामयाब होना है, बट आई हैव ए कमिटमेंट टू माई सेल्फ दैट आई हैव टू सक्सीड. So there are employees who are not looking for jobs, who are looking for a great future for themselves. So that was our primary driver for which we came here 18 years back. Even before that, we have been hiring almost like across the globe. Infosys hires almost like 30,000 employees, even more. Out of that, about 25% we have been hiring from this region all through our existence of our company. So the skills availability here, I think in terms of talented people, they were always there. In terms of freshers, I think all of you will agree the number of engineering colleges which are available there were obviously a great source. I keep getting asked this question a lot of times, Sami, do you get experienced profiles here? How do you make sure that you get a specific niche skill here? So I want to kind of tell you the employee side of story, which I have talked to multiple employees. So situation is all the employees who pass out from this region, their first preference is they want to work from this region. In fact, the number of requests which I get to come to Chandigarh, Mohali is almost like I get requests from all over, from MLAs, MPs, bureaucrats, all levels I get requests. But then because we are not able to accommodate, we means we as an industry, obviously not Infosys alone, in this region, then most of them obviously will start their life in Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, somewhere. They would have spent some 5-10 years there, their wife is there, children are studying in schools there. So then they're a little bit kind of now stuck to that place. They may not love, but still it's not an easy decision for them to move. So what we have experienced is that they will not move to this part just for a job. Just because somebody is needing here that skill, they will not come. Somebody is living in Pune for 10 years, although against his desire, but now he's living there, he'll not come here for a job. But if you give them a career, you offer them a scenario where they believe that they can move to this part for rest of their life. So I am a 35-year person with some 10-12-year experience. If I move to this area, can I be there for next 10-15 years, if not till retirement? So there's a kind of assurance which some of these experienced people are looking. So what we have seen, at least in Infosys, when we are kind of trying to move them here, they believe that this is a company where we can spend time. And I think the whole discussion which you need to be doing with them has to be around this. It can't be that, okay, we need these skills, you have these skills, why don't you join us? You have to give them a long-term visibility, how it will work to their advantage by coming here. And I think that's where we closely work with government also to get more IT companies here. If they believe that there are other IT companies, then you always have a feeling that, okay, if this company doesn't chalega, I'll go to some other company. So from that perspective, I think having more companies will help. But the whole thing about the discussion with the employee, prospective employee, has to change, where you're talking in terms of what he'll get if he comes to this region for next 10-15 years there. Other thing, I think we all talked about the distance part. I'll tell you the business perspective of it. Chandigarh and Mohali are the only two locations where we have our campuses. So you know Infosys builds campuses for which we need land and all. And in some of the bigger cities, we get that land some 20 kilometers away from the city. These are the only two places where we have our campus, which is pretty much in-city campus. So which means employee can go there for in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Now the business perspective of this is, while obviously reaching office in 10-15 minutes is obviously convenient, but as you know, most of you know, in IT industry we work on what we call a TNM material, time and material. So which means we charge our customers on per hour basis. So we say per hour we charge $2 and those kind of rates are charged. So if you have a situation where employees are traveling 2 hours every day in a business in which you are being charged per hour basis, it's almost like criminal. You're making the employee wait 2 hours on roads. We have office in other locations where it's even taking more than 2.5 or 3 hours. So it starts impacting your business. Because we are looking at employees to use that extra time to learning new areas, new this thing. But if all that time is going in travel, then obviously it doesn't work for a business. Apart from the distance part, as you know, the visa situation has changed. So visas are not available that easily now. So earlier, while only the employees were involved in BPO, they had to work in night shifts. But now the scenario is changing because we are not able to send too many employees to US or UK or because of visa constraints. So even person who is involved in a high-end technology work still has to work from India, from our offices in a US time zone or a Europe time zone, and then take requirements from them sitting on a VC or on call. So in those kind of scenarios, if you are kind of going at 10 in the night, those 1 hour starts feeling like 4 hours. You want to, at 10 hours, when you are leaving from your office, you want to reach your home in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And this 1 hour suddenly starts looking too big. So that single dimension of proximity to this thing has multiple impacts which are there. As you know, we offer gyms, and our campuses have all kind of options. But just imagine, at 6 o'clock you are leaving from office, your home is 1.5 hours away. Is going to gym first thing on your mind? Maybe it will be the last thing. You want to run away from the office, just go there, and so that you reach home by 8 o'clock or sometime. But here in Chandigarh, in Mohali, we have employees reaching in 15 minutes. I'm giving you, sharing the actual data. We have 25% employees using gym and those services in Chandigarh and Mohali. And they're able to do it because they're living at 10-minute distance. So they can pretty much enjoy their gym from 6 to 7 and then still reach home at 7:15. So I know this has been discussed a lot, like distances are less and all, but I have seen it getting practically implemented, impacting our decisions in our business. Women employees, we discussed a lot. 35% of our employees are women. And that's actual data, so it's not that we'll be hiring in future. Those actual 35% employees are women employees. All these factors which I talked about obviously get multiplied in terms of feeling insecurity and all if the distances are high. In terms of Mohali IT Park, where we are now kind of planned to grow, it's a great location. I don't think anywhere we have a campus where we got 5, 6, 7 universities which are mentioned. I specifically try one thing. So a lot of people visit us in Mohali. We have a small office operational in the IT city with 200 employees. So whenever any of senior guys come and all, we plan the last thing, our lunch in IT city Mohali. And they'll have a flight at 3:40. There's a flight for Bangalore. We'll have a web check-in already done. So they'll be enjoying their rasagulla or gulab jamun in our office till 2:40. So 1 hour is the time before which you should actually check in. But they'll be enjoying that gulab jamun in our office at 2:40. We'll start from there at 2:40, reach 2:50, 2:45 we'll start, 2:55 we reach there and then go and board. I enjoy the seeing, Sameer, for them, going to airport starts 3 hours early and all. So to make them sit there, so I kind of, now I've learned that art. So I kind of show that, no, absolutely fine, yeah, why are you worried? We will reach there. And when they actually reach, the first thing which comes back in the thanks mail, Sameer, your timing was perfect. You exactly knew when something was going to happen. Because that's the fact. If from our office you go to airport, it takes 6 minutes. And I've done it with some 5, 6 of our senior guys, and every time I get the same feedback. In terms of support from Punjab, I think it has been great. We are already kind of experiencing in terms of whatever approvals, things are required. A lot of time I get asked, when are you starting Mohali? How quickly? When? How? I don't know, some of you who have been chasing us, you would have seen our model is that even for Chandigarh campus, we first grew in our DLF office. Because these large campuses, you can't start with 10 people. You need a day one, 500,000 employee base to start these large campuses. So when we started at Chandigarh, we first took a rental space in DLF. Opposite that, we grew to some 600-700 employees. By the time our campus came, and then we moved everybody from DLF to our own campus. Similarly, now we are operating out of Quark City in Mohali. We already have 1,000 employees working out of Mohali. So it's not about this region, it is in Mohali. We have 1,000 employees working. And now we are in process of starting our own campus. So that once the campus comes, then we can day one start with 1,000 employees. You can't build a 2,000 people campus and start with 10 people. So we need that initial thrust, which we do in a rental place. That's our model. That's when we have done in other locations also. So we are all fully committed to this region. We are fully committed to growing here. We love Mohali, we love Chandigarh, we love this region. Thanks for providing this kind of environment. I keep, every time I interact with her, I say, thanks for doing all those things, because if all this would not have happened, today evening I wouldn't sitting somewhere in Chennai or Bangalore. So I think all this has given me this life, and I am thankful to all of them. Thank you.
So, thank you, Sameer. This was very insightful and straight from the heart. And you know, I started my career out of Bangalore, and you know that was early 90s, and I always thought Bangalore was an accident. Bangalore was Bangalored, and you know, and because they never planned for the growth there. I think there's no other beautiful infrastructure north of Delhi what this city offers, and it's gonna and it's the growth is going to happen with the planning, with the support of government, and with great anchors already being in here like Infosys. So we'll move on to the next event, which is basically the panel discussion. We have some outstanding panelists here, taking privilege being with them. We have one of the very renowned scientists here, Professor S.K. Das, very known academician. He's in BE Mechanical in 1984. He's done his master's and PhD program in the area of heat transfer from Sambalpur University in 1994. He's a World Award winner. He's got in his variety of awards around the world which he has received. He's in postdoctoral research in the area of plate and liquid metal heat exchanger, known for this piece around the world. He's published several books, more than 300 research papers. He's an award winner for Alexander von Humboldt Fellowship of Germany. And he's also an award medal for excellence in research by Indian Society for Heat and Mass Transfer in the year 2016. Please welcome Professor S.K. Das here, Director, IIT Roper. So I'm going to come in there and we'll open the introduction. So I'll just give a brief introduction. We also have Dr. Omkar Rai. He's the Director General STPI, which is the premier government organization working for the promotion of IT, ITeS, ESDM industry in India. He's working for formulation of incubation program and Center of Excellence for IT, ESDM. He's serving as the chairman for AIC STPI Next Initiative, director on the board of directors MTNL STPI. He's passed out from Delhi University. He's also on the board of governors for IIIT University Bhubaneswar. Dr. Rai has been educated in Banaras Hindu University, from where he earned his bachelor's and master's and PhD degree in statistics. But if you really want to know some great historian, we have Dr. Omkar Rai. You need to spend some time and learn about ancient history. He's gonna, he's amazing in that subject also. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Omkar Rai. We also have my friend, Mr. Rajiv Rai, serial entrepreneur with 20 plus years of experience, managing a very high-performing organization, which grew by 20 to 30% every year. I'm talking about the organization Bebo Technology, and this company has been a brilliant example in this region how they have grown, and the goal is to move this facility to employ 3,000 plus people, and he's continually investing in this region, and the goal, one of the commitment is to invest about 100 crores in this region. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Rajiv Rai. We also have a serial entrepreneur. She founded two tech companies, TT Consultant, it's a patent and technology search and analytical company, and XPlat, a proprietary AI tool for innovation. She's a big inspiration in this region for the women entrepreneurs. She started this business with 20,000 rupees, Komal. A big round of applause for her. So, she's also featured in Forbes Japan. She's a member of prestigious World Economic Forum Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution, San Francisco. She was also on the task force member of AI committee to draft the national policy for India by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. She was also featured on the Young Turks CNBC TV twice. A big round of applause for Komal. This introduction will not be complete if I will not introduce one of our distinguished scientists of the country, Dr. Surinder Singh, who is the director of Semiconductor Limited. He is the recipient of Platinum Jubilee Award 2019 for application-oriented innovation in the physical sciences from NSAI. He's also the, he's won several awards, ISRO Performance Excellence Award in 2016. He's also the member Space Generation Task Force formed for the long-term planning of ISRO space program and ISRO strategy group. Thank you very much for joining this group, sir. But please join me in welcoming. So we have a very limited 35 minutes of time. I'm going to ask very quick questions, and I'm going to be doing a timekeeping. So we move on to each panel and ask those questions, and we'd wrap it up in 35 minutes. Okay, all right. So I will start with Professor S.K. Das, Director, IIT Ropar. Sir, there's a lot which is happening in the IIT Ropar, how it has scaled while it was and why it is today. It's a great story to talk about. So my question is specific to, how is the rise of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, and changing the scenario of IIT and ESDM, and what is the likely impact of emerging technologies on manufacturing in India?
Okay. See, when you have an academician in the panel, you have a problem. See, we are skeptic people. While I understand the potential, I understand the enthusiasm of Punjab, but in general, I want to put a scenario, particularly to the IT people, to the IT industry, which is quite alarming. And if you don't do that, what I'm looking at, you simply, invest in Punjab or this progressive Punjab 10 years from now, you won't be sitting here because your company will disappear. So what I'm trying to say, there is a person in Harvard Business School called Clayton Christensen. He has a great theory called disruptive innovation. It says that in the ladder of innovation, the company who is coming now, he will come at the lowest end. And the bigger companies are not interested in the lowest product because that doesn't give them profit. And they try to get rid of that, and this company enters here. This exactly happened when Sony came and when the market was for General Electric, the entire electronics market. Sony came and started making $5 transistors. That is where they started, and finally they threw out the General Electric. General Electric is gone in the electronics area. And Sony thought that we are now going to reign. No. Samsung came, and they threw, by the same rule, they have thrown them out. So the thing is this, that in technology, if you do not innovate, you are out, particularly in areas like IT. Because let me tell you, when we were young students, people were talking of software industries, but I am very critical. Our industry is not a software industry, because if it is a software industry, name 10 Indian softwares. You will be stuck. We are basically IT services industry. And these services, if they go down, you won't exist. Now, this is where lies the problem. The problem is that if you think that these software services are going to go and we will be giving value-added products in the days to come, you won't be able to give because AI is coming. It don't require those products at all. Now, this is where an institute like IIT Ropar, I may not give you as many manpower as you are thinking about, because IITs are not for producing the engineering manpower. They are for producing excellence. They are for showing the direction. And in that, what we are going to do is to bring these innovations, particularly the research part of it. Now, do you need to do research? Yes, you need to do research, because, you see, in fast-changing industry, experience, the previous speaker, I agree with you, I appreciate your experience, but experience is a bad thing. Zuckerberg, who have never made Facebook, had he got the experience. And Bill Gates would have never written that program if he would have been having the experience. Steve Jobs, had it been in consumer electronics, he would have never thought of a product which is very user unfriendly. People were talking, Macintosh, we understand. It was the most unfriendly software. He would have never betted on that had he got experience. In these kinds of things, experience is detrimental. In innovations, in research, when you think new, experience is a bad thing, actually. So, what is then the good thing? The good thing is research, which tells you always counterintuitive things. And why you need to do research? The reason is very simple, that the thing is, whatever you are thinking today, what you are seeing today, they are going to be thrown out in no time. Now, coming to Punjab and Mohali, what is the greatest thing? You see, you just said that IIT Ropar has done great thing. One of the great things which has come to IIT Ropar is a center sponsored by Taiwan, an AI center. Taiwan has given 6 such centers worldwide, only one in India, and that to IIT Ropar. Anyway, when we got the money, we were very happy. 2-3 crores we got right in the beginning. They will be giving more. But I started thinking, why is Taiwan making this center? This question bugged me. The reason being, you know what is Taiwan? Taiwan is the semiconductor foundry of the world. Everybody says. The most of the semiconductors all over the world, that is made in Taiwan. Now, why they are getting into this side? Because they have realized that just by making devices, they cannot survive. Once the AI comes, the manufacturing, designing, everything is going to be one integrated thing. And if they do not understand the other side, which is AI and design, they will be out of the business. They have understood that, so they want to, get the other thing, which is the software side, which is the design side, which is the engineering side. So they are trying to get into that and the innovative cycle, of course, with the help of countries like India, because they want to come out of the hands of the big dragon. Everybody knows that.
Sure.
So this is where I would like to tell you that there is an opportunity in Chandigarh, because this is the only place where semiconductor manufacturing, designing, and researching institutes are there. It is not even there in Bangalore. It's not there in Bangalore. They do not make semiconductors in Bangalore. They make it here. The SCL is probably the leading institutions in this country which makes it. So you're making, if you can connect it to designing, and then your applications and the software companies think about how to integrate AI to that, that is the thing which is for the future. So, Bangalore became Bangalore because they did something first. Every time the number one gets the maximum benefit. Now here is an opportunity for Chandigarh to be the number one, because the advantages that Chandigarh has got with all these institutions, starting from, even biological institute, because many of what are these applications, AI applications going to be? It will be in electric vehicle. It will be in autonomous vehicle. It will be in healthcare. And all those institutes are here.
Sure.
Along with the hardware capability, along with the research capability of IIT Ropar. So we have it. Now, if it is a warning bell, and as a teacher, we always put the warning bell to the student. As a teacher, I am telling to all the IT industry, you have all this with you. You have the warning bell in front of you. Choice is yours, whether you want to exist or not. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Brilliant. That was brilliant, sir. We've been talking about tremendous growth in ITES and ESDM. So my question is to Dr. Omkar Rai. What are some of the initiatives by the STPI for the growth of ITES and ESDM ecosystem and the technology-driven startups in India? These are all buzzwords today. We want to know, what are the initiatives from the STPI, sir?
Thank you. In fact, I would start with the comments of Professor S.K. Das. The Ministry of Electronics and IT and its autonomous body software technology parks of India were instrumental in facilitating the creation of IT services industry in India. And you know that the kind of export that has been made by IT services India, services industry of India in year 2018-19 has been in the tune of $136 billion. And you know, just to capitalize the kind of talent this IT services industry employs, and also to provide much needed infrastructure for transforming India to a software product nation, the Ministry of Electronics and IT has come up with a policy called National Policy on Software Product 2019. And as the Professor Das has rang the bell, you know, it's very important for us to really transform ourselves. In addition to continue to excel in the IT services, we must also venture into product creation. And that is how we will have our own brand, our own products. For that, the government of India aspires to create a software industry, software product industry in India in the tune of 70 to 89 billion dollar by 2025. For this, we are taking initiative. Several centers of excellence in emerging technologies are being created in AI, IoT, FinTech, Meditech, autonomous, connected, electronic and shared vehicle, IoT in agriculture, IoT in multi-sectors, uh, drones and all. So all sorts of emerging technologies are being explored by way of creating centers of excellence. These centers of excellence are being created in collaborative manner so that the industry leaders lead those centers of excellence to afford a very, very professional and you know, competent environment to the startups. Just for an example, I would cite the example of Neuron, a center of excellence in AI, IoT, and AVG domain, which is being created in STPI Mohali itself, in collaboration with Government of Punjab, TAI, ISB, PTU, Jalandhar. This center of excellence is being created with investment of 20 crore rupees, which is going to nurture about 250 startups in this domain over a period of 5 years. And the first season has already started to recruit about 25 you know, startup in these domains. What I'm trying to say is that the governments and other stakeholders are already, you know, keeping this problem in their sight, that India has to become a software product nation to you know, apportion a certain wealth that is being created by world over in the field of software products. Another aspect that I would like to share this audience is that the Government of India, Ministry of Electronics and IT, STPI is working together to disperse the IT industry to smaller towns. For that, we came up with a, you know, India BPO promotion scheme with the 550 crores incentives available. And Punjab has been beneficiary of this scheme with you know, teleperformance having about 3,000 people working in their facility under this BPO promotion scheme itself. You know that the STPI Mohali itself, we invested about 60 crore rupees, and this facility became operational, very modern facility in year 2014 itself, which was inaugurated though in the year 2015. This is going to be the hub. The Punjab government is also launching their, you know, startup hub Punjab in our own premise. And this premise has become a center of excellence, a resource center for all sorts of activities and entrepreneurship in the field of IT and electronics domain. With this, I must also say that Ministry of Electronics and IT is also coming up with a next generation incubation program with about 100 crores budget outlay for only 3 years to test the waters, to disperse the startup ecosystem in tier 2 cities, including Mohali and other small cities, so that we could recruit and promote nurture about 2,000 startups from smaller towns and to tap the talent wherever they are in a collaborative manner with academia, industry and industry leader. This Neuron, which I have just spoke about, is being led by IS Pal, who is the chairman of Dris Infotech. And this, the whole committee that has been formed, a governance mechanism has been put in place so that this whole decision making and facilitation is done in most professional manner. These kind of things are being, you know, initiated by all the stakeholders together.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So my next question is to Komal. You know, you've been on a task force committee of artificial intelligence for the government of Department of Commerce, central government. So my question is, what are the opportunities for women in artificial intelligence and technology in the next few years, and why is it so important for women to ride this AI wave?
Yeah, so I think the theme is really correct, the future of IT, and I really believe that we are sitting in the middle of an industrial revolution right now. And though technology has always played a very big role in our lives, in impacting the economy, but it's never been so big in the past. If you look at the World Economic Forum report, it actually states that there are going to be 8 technologies which are going to be massively disruptive, not just for the IT industry, also for ancillary industries like health. We talk about health tech, we talk about edutech. Everything is related to technology now. And it's very important for companies to bring in a bit of technology in their business processes. AI is also going to play a great role in transforming societies and countries like India, where we need technology to improve health, to personalize education, etc., etc. Now, unfortunately, all across history, we know all across the globe, women have always been underrepresented in technology. If you look at the statistics all across the world, including countries like the US, there's just a very small pipeline of women technologists. Now, my question really, a very important question that we have today is that, do women want to again lose out on the second wave of technology, which is going to come in a very big way in the next 10 years? Or do we want to prepare our women, our young girls in schools and colleges with the help of the industry, the government, so that we're able to overcome this wave and actually become enablers of technology in the future? Now, when I was going through data, I looked at a few data points. Computer science is going to be the fastest and the highest paid industry in the world, right? It's going to create 2 times more jobs than any other industry. It's going to create 1.5 million jobs in the next 2 years in the US alone. And therefore, I think it has to be a very, very good millennial career option for women. So there are 3 very important reasons why women need to be in technology. And of course, we can talk in detail about how we can enable that in terms of policies for the government, in terms of industry help, in terms of societal changes, in terms of unconscious biases that we have as parents when we encourage our girls to take arts instead of taking sciences. So I think it has to become, if we can have a movement in India like Swachh Bharat, right? If we can have movements for other aspects of social good, I think if Punjab can take this up, in a very big way, and we can create the best AI talent for India in Punjab, both for our own state and for the rest of the country. I think it can be, Punjab can leapfrog in this and create talent and provide talent all across the world. So I think this is a very, very important flipping point in the world right now in terms of technology, where women can actually we can increase the gender parity, which we talk about all the time. Also, when we are creating technology, there's an example where, when the first airbags were created, they were created based on a lot of male-biased data, where when it was actually tested on women and children, it failed. So not just in terms of gender parity, also when we are creating technology, it's very important to have an equal, unbiased set of data. And that can only come if we have more women technologists in the teams, more diverse teams. And thirdly, we were talking a lot yesterday also about this problem of safety of women in India. It's a big concern everywhere. Now, an industry like AI, like IT, enables women to work from home, because this is based on a gig economy, where, for example, a company like me hires talent irrespective of where people are sitting. I hire in Philippines, I hire in the US, because I need a certain skill set which is very specialized. So I think the gig economy also provides a lot of opportunities for girls sitting in a village in Afghanistan to sitting in a village in India, to have equal opportunities. And when we talk about increased labor participation, we're not just talking about labor participation at the bottom level. This is going to be the highest paid industry in the world. And as a company, we are going to be actually dedicating 1% of our revenue to this mission. And I'll be very happy to work with the Punjab government, to kind of increase the STEM education awareness in Punjab, and then enable policies, because I have a 30% workforce in my company, which is women. And they're the best performers, they're the best coders in our company. So I think it's very doable. It's a question of, I think, a lot of effort coming together by the government, by the industry, and a lot of counseling for parents, I think, to start with, and we can really make it happen.
Sure. Thank you very much, Komal. This is very, very well said. The diverse ideas can come only through the diverse set of diversity. So brilliant. So Rajiv, such a brilliant success, in your career, with the tech company which you created here. It's an example for all of us here. Tell us, how are the business processes in the corporate world expect to change with the changing wave of technology?
Business process is expected to change. Well, First of all, you're very kind. Thank you so much. We would not have been successful if it was not support of the region here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to piggyback on Samir's. We've never met, actually. A lot of the things you talked about, just we have a similar story. When we started Bibo Technologies, we really could have started anywhere. I mean, I left India 30 years ago. We could have started in Bangalore. At that time, it wasn't as polluted. We could have started in Mumbai, Delhi. However, we decided to start here because the kind of support we received from, as a matter of fact, STPI. Right here, our friends are STPI. We started in 2003 in a small 500 square foot space that was in an incubation center in Punjab Engineering College. So that's where we started, and today we are, about over 900 people, over 100,000 square foot space, largest exporter, SME exporter out of Chandigarh region. So very proud of that. So thank you so much. We wouldn't be able to do this without the government, the support we received. The talent is tremendous, and all the benefits that they have talked about. Whether it is the well, actually, the talent was a challenge when we started here. We were importing talent from South. Today, our 90% of talent is the Punjabi workforce. Really, that's what we have from this region here. So we're very proud of that. Now, to answer your question about systems and process, that's a really big question. But I also want to comment one thing. First of all, I started my career at Apple, sir, so Mr. Das. I started my career at Apple, so I'm very familiar with when you say Macintosh was very unfriendly. I'm not sure I agree, but that's okay. And I also want to tell my friends here who are in the ITES industry, because that's who we are. I know there's a lot of talk about, hey, we should start a product. We should become a product company. I'm from Silicon Valley. Let me tell you guys, ITES industry is not dead. Do not believe that, please. I mean, I know people talk about that. We got funding from Taiwan. Guess what Taiwan does? Taiwan is a contract manufacturing country. So not disputing that, I just want to make sure my friends know this. Please continue to support the ITES industry. We do need that. That industry is going to continue to grow. There's a lot of potential there. Now, in terms of system and processes, I mean, that's a loaded question. I know people talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, robotics. All those things are great. Komal has built an amazing company out of AI, which is great. But still, I mean, I'm sure Komal is the first one who will tell you, AI today, the penetration today is very, very low. It's very small, okay? I mean, there is only large companies who are using this. Now, what I would want to encourage our business people here, or the IT guys who are here, really looking at it, are you really leveraging the data? Are you collecting the data? Now, AI, ML, data science, what are they dependent on? They're dependent on data. So, well, let's talk about system and processes. Where in a business, you really have three components. What do we have? You have your suppliers, you have your customers, and you have your employees. You got to be really looking at it. Are you gathering data with each one of them? For example, customers. Where are your customers coming from? How do they find you? Where do they buy your services? Are you collecting that data? Do you have a marketing automation system in place? Are you gathering that data? Because if you do have those things in place, now your customer, your prospect walks in, now you have your sales guys pick up the data. Now your salespeople, are they collecting the data? Are they acting on that data? Now, are they able to cross-sell? Are they able to upsell? Do you have a system in place? Do you have a process in place? So really, if you look at it, here you have systems for your customers. Now, how are you communicating with the customer? In the old days, what did you have to do? You had to send a contract by an email or a phone or a fax. Well, now, do you have smart contracts implemented? You can, with the touch of a button, you can just go ahead and send an electronic document, electronic gets signed. You have that system in place. So how are you making it easier for customers to pay? Do you have electronic payments in place? Are you gathering that data? How are your customers paying you? Are they paying you by Paytm? Are they paying you by credit card? How? So all of the data has to be collected. Once you collect all of the data, that's just on the customer side. I haven't even talked about the supplier side yet. How many of you use Facebook? Can I see the show of hand, Facebook? Come on, you guys are lying to me. There's got to be a lot more of that, right? Well, if you use Facebook, what do you pay? How much do you pay? Do you pay anything? Wow, it's free, right? Isn't it? No, it's not. Guess what? You are the product. You are the product for Facebook. So now as a business owner, you should be thinking about it. What can I get out of Facebook? Well, I can tell you how we use it. I can tell, hey, Facebook, I need to be able to market to people with the 25 years old and 4 years old in the month of October who wore a green sweater, who happened to be hanging out in Calcutta. Well, I can find out those people. Facebook will tell you I can target my product directly to that. You can really be as granular as you want to be. So you need to be thinking about that. Are you leveraging social media, power of social media? Now we're talking about suppliers. Your suppliers are doing the same thing with you. Are you still calling your supplier for your raw material? Or are you sending data electronically? Do you have your system hooked up? Now let's talk about employees. Now, how are you managing your employees? Employees are going to become more and more as we go into the knowledge economy. Your employees become a huge part of your success. How are you recruiting them? How are you training them? When you are a 5%, 10, 50, even 100% company, you may be able to do the data by hand. But after that, you better make sure you got systems and processes in place. You need to be able to leverage what talent you have available within your organization. Who's the person working, who's not working, how productive they are. Some people talk about, some people like to work at night, some people have family. It's really, so you need to be able to gather that data. Now, I can go on and on. Now, are you really managing your online reputation? Your employees, before they join you, what do? They're going to go look up, what's your reputation? What's your social media score? What is your Glassdoor reputation? People are really looking at that. So really, in a nutshell, if you want me to talk about systems and processes, really start gathering data, looking at how your customers interact with you, how do you interact with your customers, how do you talk to your employees, how do you talk to your suppliers, getting all of this information together. Now, data is the new gold, guys. That's really what it's going to come down to. Before we can talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, you need to collect that data. Now, obviously, there are things that are out there that you can use today. Chatbots are there. Your competitors are using those chatbots are cheap. Are you still answering questions by phone? Do you have the chatbots implemented? Those are free, practically free. They don't cost a lot of money to solve your customer's problem. So really, and all the entrepreneurs out there, all the things I'm talking about, now you should be thinking about how you can build a product that's localized to our environment. Now, we don't have to go out there and build a product, sell it to the entire world. China has done that. Nobody talks about that. Alibaba is the most, Tencent is the highest value company really in your technology space other than Apple and those guys, right? But that company, well, guess what? The big market is China. Alibaba sells within China. Facebook, Google, they do not sell into China. They can't. Now, you guys can build a local product. You don't have to build a product that has to be sold all over the world. Build a product that can be built locally. That's what I would encourage you guys. From system and processes, customers, employees, your suppliers, how you interact with them, how do you manage that? Okay?
Brilliant, Rajiv. That was outstanding. Thank you very much. I know we are running against the time, but I still would like to have one quick session here, one more round, because it's very intriguing. My next question goes to Professor S.K. Das. Very precise answer, sir. Please tell us about some of the latest research in the field of disruptive technology. There's a lot which is happening in your space.
You see, if I look, India is a country where a lot is pushed from the top by the government. And if you say the number one that I'm going to take in which you have to put money is electric vehicle. I think that's a technology because, what happened, I can give you one small incident that a couple of weeks back, they called, Government of India called all the, auto manufacturers and said, what are you doing on electric vehicle? Please make a presentation. Toyota came with a presentation for hybrid vehicle. The moment they started, they were stopped. And the government officials said, we are not interested in hybrid vehicle, please stop your presentation. If you have something on pure electric vehicle, you go ahead. Now, this is the policy of the government. And so, I think that will be the first one. The other one is very important is healthcare. Healthcare in India is still taking shape. Whether it is how to reach to the bottom, how to go to the top end, how to connect them. I think this is where the other, the IT services will come. The other thing that people are talking about, I really do not know. This is this has been talked for a long time, but I think it's a time for us to get into two management systems. One is water and one is crop. Water management and crop management, IT has to come there. So I would put it health, electric vehicle, water management, and crop management. These four will be my take.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dr. Rai, you did speak about some of the initiatives of STPI across India. Now, if we have to specifically talk about Mohali, how do you view the prospect of Mohali in the near future, and what are some of the plans to tap these rising opportunities in Mohali?
Thank you. In fact, I would share three things very, very quickly. First, that our initiative to create this neuron in collaboration with Government of Punjab was based on the talent and existing industry foundation that we had here, with about 35,000 talent employed in the IT sector, with so many big anchor companies like Infosys, Tech Mahindra and all, and beautiful beginner startup company taking medium stage like Bayboard, NetSmart and other, which became a source of supply of talent and mentoring pool. And that encouraged us to create Neuron. So this is first thing that I would, with about 4,700 crore export and all. Second, that in electronics manufacturing, the Government of India is focusing now. And a lot of initiatives have been taken, Electronic Development Fund, Electronic Manufacturing Cluster, Modified Special Incentive Program. And I must congratulate Government of Punjab because they have identified a great land pool in Rajpura. And this is something which is very encouraging. They have about 1,200 acres of land they have identified, with 270 acre land reserved only for electronics manufacturing. And this is something very great, which encourages us to see that we are able to leverage from that kind of allocation of land. Third is that we are collaborating with the semiconductor complex to make sure that we develop the talent, and we are also afford those talent to the startup in a particular domain, so that we are able to work for the high-end products. And I must say that this application is specific integrated circuit program. We are joining hand with the Semiconductor Complex Limited, STPI, Neuron and all, with support of the Government of Punjab. And this would really give a foundation, a great basis for development of certain great products in this kind of domain. So there are three things that I wanted to say.
Very nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Komal, we've been talking about AI and attracting women to work in the IT industry in Punjab. So what do you think? What kind of environment is required to encourage and attract women folks to work in the IT industry in Punjab?
Right. I think we've done a lot of work in this because, as I just said, we are one of the only companies in the region to have been certified as one of the great places to work for women. And we've made a lot of conceited effort to increase our women participation. Back in 2006, we started at a 5% portion of women in our company. Now we're at 30%. But I do feel that it's always an intersection of the role of the government, what the city provides, what the state provides, and then what kind of policies you have within the business to first hire women and then to retain them. So I think, as Sameer also said today, there's so much that the city already offers, right? So when I look at the top three things that why do women want to work in Mohali, of course, then we step in with some great policies, inclusiveness and leadership for women, etc. The three top priorities for women really, for one, is quality of life. So I think as women, we have to juggle so much more with time management. Once you have families, you're spending less time in traffic, there's more greenery, you have better health for your children, for yourself. And we get so many CVs now suddenly at all levels saying we don't want to live in NCR, we don't want to live in a Jaipur, we want to live in Mohali. So I think that's very encouraging. Number two, safety, I think, is at the prime concern of all women. And I think, as the CM said yesterday, that they've launched these, these phone helplines where a woman can call. So I think the government is doing enough in terms of safety. What we've done as a business really is we've implemented POSH, we've implemented very strong zero tolerance to any kind of harassment at work. And in my 15 years of running the business, we've only had one small incident of harassment. And we took that up immediately and we provided relief. So I think safety is a very big concern. The government is doing a lot. And I think as the industry also, what the government can really do is to ensure that the industry is following these best practices, to implement these policies so that women feel safe. And third, I think, is quality of the work that you're getting in the company. So, for example, as a business, can I offer, like a runway of 10 years or 15 years to somebody who's joining my company, as Sameer said, for leadership roles? Can someone grow within my company? I think Invest Punjab is already doing so much in Punjab here to get those leading investments in high tech, in high tech industries. So I think quality of work has to be again, a coincident effort of the government. And we have, as I said, women leadership programs. We have a lot that we do. We provide, so I have a 100% back to work policy. So we've got 100% of our women back to work after a maternity leave or getting married. And I think that's because we provide flexible working hours, work from home, and women leadership is very important. So I think when I'm leading a company, a business, I think as a woman. So I think my policies are more inclusive very naturally. And I think that is really needed. And I hope the government takes a lot of steps to make these best practices for all companies, whether they're small, medium-sized, or large-sized in the Tri-City.
Sure, sure. I hope the government is taking the note of this. So, brilliant point. Rajiv, we've been talking about, the digitization of services, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and some. So, how can digitization of services actually help economy?
Oh, wow. I'm going to close that question, man. Great question. Well, digitization, here's the thing. Once you can digitize something, you can digitize it, you can analyze it, you can measure it, you can monitor it. What you can measure, you can improve. Really, that's what it comes down to, once you can digitize stuff. Now, we've been talking about IT, building products and all of that. So digitization, how does it help the economy? In many, many ways. We wouldn't be sitting here if we didn't have great education. Now look at what the impact digitization is having on education. Today, literally by sitting at your home with this little device here, it doesn't have to be this, it costs a couple of thousand rupees, 500 rupees for a data pack. You literally you want to learn algebra, you want to learn quantum physics, you want to learn astrophysics, you want to learn how to play the piano, you want to learn programming, you want to learn AI. Well, guess what? You can do all that. And again, that too at no cost. You want to take a course at Harvard, you want to take a course in Stanford, you can do all of that at no cost. And that's all because of digitalization. That's just in the education space. I know friends of mine here talked about healthcare. They talked about healthcare, what can we do in healthcare? Really, with digitalization now, again, using this little device in here, you can do, whether it's your glucose monitoring, cholesterol, whichever one you want to do this, it has an impact on healthcare as well. Now, manufacturing, I'll give you a simple example. Well, before I go into manufacturing, environment. Digitalization with Internet of Things, you got these little sensors you can put on, water wastage. Water is a precious resource for Punjab. You can put little IoT, these little sensors on pipes. You can see where there's a leak, and it will tell you can save water. Little smart meters you can put on there, each house, whether it's inside the house, outside of the house. It can really impact in a big way from water management, from pollution. It can happen there. Manufacturing. There's a good example I'll give you guys how digitalization can help environment, pollution control. I'm from Ludhiana. Many of you may not know this, but from being from Ludhiana, we used to supply cylinders. Every morning, there's a nitrogen, oxygen, all these cylinders used to get used. This manufacturer would supply those cylinders. The guy would load those cylinders in the night. In the morning, go make a route. They go to every company who needed them. There was really it was all passive. You need this cylinder, they give it to you, or somebody made a phone call. Now, this little device, this is because of digitalization, this little device, you put this little IoT, this little sensor on the rack. Once the cylinder is removed from the rack, if an event is fired, lets the manufacturer know, hey, this guy has removed a cylinder, this guy might need a cylinder, okay? Now, by the way, which one was this? Well, we have all this data. It has nitrogen, oxygen, whatever. Now, what happens? Nobody has to make a phone call. Now, the company who's making these cylinders, this gas, at night they look at it, our manufacturer or supply or vendors need customers need these cylinders. Now they go ahead and make the route. At night, load up the cylinders. Now we integrated with GPS. That's all because of digitization. GPS, they plan a route. In the morning, you go in, they deliver the cylinders. Now what happened? All of a sudden, we reduce the cost. We're not making all this pollution environment, and polluting the environment. And also, we are able to serve the customer in a proactive way. This is all because of digitalization. Now, when talk about economy, political and social impact, our prime minister has over 50 million followers. I don't really care about your political affiliation. Our president from the United States has 70 million followers. Obama had 100 million. Guess what? At the press of a button, they can connect with all these people. That's all because of digitization. Look at the power that it has. So whether it's education, whether it's economics, whether it's environment, whether it is healthcare, digitization really is here to stay. It's going to impact in a tremendous manner. That's what I would tell you.
Thank you, Mayor. It's very nice, Rajiv, very nice. Before I open up for a question and answer, we've been talking about, we have academia here, we have government here, we have a very successful young entrepreneur, and, Rajiv, a very successful, again, serial entrepreneur, and then we have, the entire government here, which has hosted this beautiful event called Progressive Punjab Investor Summit. Dr. Saab, if you have to make one tweet about the whole event, one tweet, what is that one line? It has to be a 10 seconds line. What is that tweet for today's event? You have to make a tweet.
Okay. Well, I will be very selfish, saying, come industry, academia together for a brighter Punjab.
Very nice. A big round of applause. Dr. Rai, what's your tweet, please?
I would say that the IT and electronics industry, the small, medium, and startups can find a place here, and even for the manufacturing. So this is a good place to come and invest with ease of doing business, as the Principal Secretary has just said.
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice.
I would say progressive and inclusive Punjab is what I would want to see.
Progressive, inclusive industry and academia Punjab. There we go, right?
So wonderful. We had a great, panel discussion. A big round of applause for everyone here on the stage. Thank you for joining us for this wonderful event. So I would just leave this for a quick 4 to 5 questions because we've already overstepped the time. So may I open up the questions? And you will have to, if you have a direct question, you could ask, yeah, please. Can you give the mic that side?
To attend this event. I belong to the company Continental Device India Limited, which is CDIL, and we are into manufacturing of semiconductor components. Just to give you a little background, we started in 1964, it's more than 50 years old company, doing semiconductors in India. And we have our own wafer fab in India in 1971. So that's the time we started wafer fab, and it was not even heard of in India. Somehow we had to shut the fab in 2008 because of certain economical reasons, and the electronics industry was not growing. But in Mohali, we've been functioning since mid-80s. It's been like almost 35 plus years, where we run our ATMP lines. Now, in a semiconductor, it's a wafer fab, it's an ATMP, and then, of course, it's a product component which goes into the EMSs. Now, what Professor Das said, electric vehicles, we're already working on it. What Rajiv said on the sensors. My issue is that all these products today, they are covered under ITA 1. In semiconductors, they're all covered under ITA 1, which means they're covered under a 0 BCD. When it's a 0 BCD area regime with large capacity sitting with our neighbors, it's extremely difficult to manufacture any of this in India, and that's why CDIL is probably the only company that has survived for 50 years in this. My request to Punjab government would be that as a semiconductor industry for hardware, what extra benefits can be offered to the industry in terms of keeping in view, it's a very heavy capital intensive industry. It's 1:1 is the type of ratio. In fact, I would say it's 1.5:1.
Sir, can we focus on your question?
My question is that what extra benefits can invest Punjab and the Punjab government offer to hardware manufacturing of semiconductors in the state? We're already doing it for 35 years. We want to expand and grow. We're getting collaborators, but unfortunately, the schemes are very similar as what it is for the IT, and
Sure.
good to hear these success stories.
Well received. So, Mr. Anirudh, would you like to answer this?
Yeah, I think what I would say is that you please go through our industrial policy, and in case after going through that industrial policy you feel that there are still some gaps that need to be filled, there's a wish list that you have. Please share that with us. and we'll surely respond positively to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. So I have some questions which is received by some of the IT experts here. I'll take their names, and they've already sent some of the questions. So is Mr. Dilip Singh here? Mr. Dilip is here. So
Hi, I'm Dildeep. I'm from Dubai. I would like to thank you for arranging a great show here. People from Silicon Valley coming back and creating a new Shivalik Valley. It is very good to see. I'm very excited. Yeah, so my question to government team sitting here in West Punjab team, I've seen a couple of smart government initiatives, smart cities and all that. Want to hear what is happening on that. Are you looking for collaboration with the technology providers and looking for funding for that? Yeah, this is my question.
Well, the Smart Cities program of the Government of India is already there in Punjab. If I'm not wrong, I don't really deal with that particular subject, but perhaps Ludhiana and Amritsar, they have already been, and Jalandhar are there, and of course, I think Sultanpur Lodi has also been added to it now. So, and in fact, we have received some funding for Sultanpur Lodi also. So, we are looking at technology partners. We can probably talk offline about it, and surely there's an opportunity for collaboration in this regard.
thank you very much. Mr. Pankaj Pathak, we've received a question from Mr. Pankaj Pathak. Is here on the... All right. So we have a question from there. Can you just give the,
Hello. My question to the government is that what benefits you can give under Shops and Establishment Act to the companies like us? So now everybody is talking about AI and all the stuff we are doing since 2012. We are selected in Dubai Accelerator program for their smart monitoring and their police. And we are working in USA also. Now the problem, because of startup, Ajay sir has supported us so long time. Now the problem is coming, the people from the labor department, they are very putting us on every time. They are sending a list of formalities, and they know it because there is a lot of iteration happened from a single room to we moved to STPI. We have now 8,000 square feet. And I openly challenge, if AI you can do in Chandigarh, we are the first company to do. We are joining Kubernetes service provider. That will be the first company in India we will be there. But from last 2 months, I was in USA, the Department of your Labor, they are sending letters. You talked about women empowerment. So they are sending letters to my wife that you have to submit this. Today even I also getting, because there is some employee, they're not able to perform, we done. So he belonged to your labor office. And now he's sending all that they don't have this, they don't have. So what we can do as a startup? Either we work on new technologies or we just formalities which we don't know, not want to do. So how government, so Hyderabad has a All Shops and Establishment Act. They have a relaxation from last 15 years. They are giving a relaxation for IT companies to do new things. So what government can do for startups like us on that?
Sure, sir.
Well, I guess there are two issues that you mentioned. One is a personal issue that you thought that you've highlighted. There's a problem that you are facing with the Labor Department. That, of course, I think what I'll do is we can get into the details of it again offline, because I don't want to kind of waste that time of the entire audience here. But of course, that's something that we need to seriously look at. But I would also like to mention to the audience here is that in the last 3-4 days, there have been at least 3 amendments that have been approved by the Council of Ministers in the state on the Labour Act and in the Industrial Disputes Act. They'll soon be notified, and those have been done essentially to look at the problems that you are mentioning. And of course, one very important thing that has been done already is regard to inspections by the Labour Department. So one thing which has been done fundamentally in terms of all inspectors is that now an inspector shall not be dedicated to a particular area. The problem that a lot of people are facing was that if you have a unit in a particular area and you have, a labor inspector knows that this area is with me, well, the industry always felt that they are at the mercy of the labor inspector. Now it's going to be randomized. So no labor inspector knows which establishment I'm going to inspect. I mean, he could be sitting in Chandigarh and inspecting establishments in Amritsar. You see, I think there can be no dispute in terms of the fact that there have to be laws. There have to be rules and regulations. There can be no dispute about that. And we all, as responsible citizens, need to comply with that. The thing is that as we evolve, as we grow, more and more self-compliance would come in. And I mean, it's as simple as that. Even in terms of traffic regulation, the simplest I think of is traffic regulation. So as regulators, as once we start self-regulating ourselves, we all start stopping at red light and moving on the green light, the traffic flows automatically. Problem comes only when we jump, right? There are some of us who like to jump red lights. That is a time when you need people at the cross sections to monitor that. In course of time, the government has now kind of been moving from a regime where more and more self-inspection is possible. The government has also passed now an act, the Right to Business Act, where we are allowing the SMEs to actually start their business on their own for 3 years, Vineet? 3 years, just on the basis of self-certification. So it is now going to be, our ordinance is going to be promulgated, where SMEs would be allowed to start their business on the basis of self-certification. So we are moving towards that. In terms of the specific provisions of the Shop and Establishment Act, please let me know what is it that is a hindrance to you, because you've just mentioned that what is it that we can do. Let us know what is it that is hindering your business, and we'll be very happy to look at that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. So, as I mentioned, we are running against the time. I would like to invite Dr. Surinder Singh, Director, Semiconductor Laboratory, Chandigarh, for the role of SEL in promoting ESDM. And concluding remark, as I introduced, is one of the extremely distinguished scientists in the space area in the country. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophie, for this introduction. I don't think I deserve that much. So the job given to me is to conclude this session and introduce to you a little bit about SEL. So as I see all my knowledgeable panelists and of course the knowledgeable moderator has summed it for you in just one sentence when he has asked our panelists. But still, for the benefit of all those who may have left the hall in between for some work, so I'll just try to summarize it. The Professor Das has started with a real bang, and other than the technologies, so the real crux, what he has told is we should not run after the technologies, but we should see that which way we can utilize those technologies. So innovation and research, what he has emphasized precisely, and in the second round, the technologies he has put emphasis is on electrical vehicles, healthcare, of course, and of course again, the food and water. He is not forgetting, which is really important. Of course, Onkar Saab has again tried to tell us the government policies on whatever the government is doing for incubation centers and startups, and particularly trying to enlighten us about the next gen incubation center which government is trying in the tier 2 cities like us. Ms. Komal has, of course, again talked on whatever disruptive technologies can do, and of course the role of women in all the upcoming technologies, particularly AI. And she has talked about gender parity, and she has given a good view on why the Mohali is a preferred destination for women, citing quality of life, safety, and quality of work opportunities which are available here. So Rajiv has talked in his first round of questions about AI, but again has gone. I'll say with Rajiv answering, this whole panelist talk has come to a full close circle. Why? I'll tell you. He has emphasized that once you are looking at AI, please look at the need he is to leverage data. Okay, and also he has told that try to go for products which are customized to the local environment. So in the first, when he's talking of data and he is talking of customization to the local environment, I think again, when he was emphasizing, he is again emphasizing on research and innovation. Okay, we should not be running after technology, but we should look at these two important aspects. Of course, in his second round, he has talked on digitization, how digitization has brought our economy forward and how it has impacted our daily lives. So with this brief, I'll say ITES and ITES, of course, all panelists have talked, so I'll not emphasize the need of that. But I like to tell that behind all these applications, IT and IT, there is a semiconductor industry. Of course, my friend and our neighbor, Gulati Saab, has emphasized the difficulties which the manufacturing sector is facing. So we are also here in Mohali, as probably Anirudh has told in 85, but I'll say 83. So right from 83, we are here in Mohali. Why in Mohali? This our Samir Saab has said few aspects, of course. So along with that, I'll say you can party here every night rather than on weekends. The time saving what you get. Okay. But why we are in Mohali? We are in Mohali because the semiconductor wafer fab, what it requires, it's a guzzler, it requires very big land, great power, huge power, and huge amount of water. So as Mr. Anirudh has told in his opening talk, so this is the state where you can get cheap, very cheap, and quality power, uninterrupted power, and that is what our industry needs. And I will tell you that at our center, see, we have a provision. We cannot run even microseconds without power. If the power goes, our equipments will be down and may not come up in months together. So we have a provision for 4 days without Punjab government supporting us. We have 90,000 liter diesel storage and of course an uninterrupted power supply system so that we can run all along. But let me say that even for I am here for last 5 years heading this organization, even for few minutes, we have never required in last 5 years this kind of you have power. So power is available and quality power is available, cheap power is available to us all the time. And of course, Punjab is full of water. So no scarcity of water, so we have a lot of waters. Okay. Before going to what we are doing, I'll say that we are right now working at 180 nanometer and of course supporting space and strategic electronics mainly at this time. But we are supporting academia and startups in some way, and we are collaborating with knowledgeable institutes like IIT Ropar and Professor Das and trying to improve whatever technologies we have, and like he said, through innovations and research trying to utilize these technologies to the maximum. Okay, but we have a plan to again move forward and go to we compete with the technologies whatever world is having and move to the higher nodes. And let me tell you again here itself that it was not an initiative from us, just a word to Punjab government that we are intending to upgrade ourselves and trying to come to the level where the world is. And believe me, there was initiative from their side. I must thank Mr. Dhillon, who has visited us many times on his own. And they have promised that whatever land, water, again, whatever power you require, it will be available to you whenever you say. So that kind of support, I think, which is available, probably you cannot, people have talked in Bangalore about time. I'll say Bangalore right now, the kind of congestion it is there, it is unimaginable to get that kind of land and power from that state. So this is the destination for us, and probably as Dasab has emphasized, even the world which is leader, the people who are leader in this area, they have also recognized the potential of the region. It's an educational hub and we have the facilities here for manufacturing. SCL is not only a manufacturing wafer fab. We call ourselves, and in the right terminology, as we are integrated device manufacturer. That means we have a very strong design, VLSI design team existing with us, which designs for us, convert them to fabrication, and my friend has talked about ATMP, so we have a very good full-fledged line for assembly, testing, and packaging. So we are an integrated device manufacturer. So as far as the industries is concerned, we have, as I said, we have collaborated with academia in a very big way. So its collaboration is both way. It is not that we have expertise. So whatever we have, that is on offer to all the person who are sitting here, all the industry which is here from Punjab. Whatever expertise we have, like Mr. Onkar has said, probably we are going to sign an MOU today, and we are going to help whatever our industry entrepreneurs are there in the VLSI design and microelectronics area. But I say it is vice versa also. My knowledgeable friends like Mr. Das, so we are trying, they have also a very knowledgeable faculty and people like him all over India. I like to tell you a story that first indigenized microprocessor of the country has come through such collaboration. IIT Madras, Professor Kamakoti, so he has, his team has designed a code. The code was done in the country for the first time. All the back end and manufacturing was done at SCL, and the testing again has been done, packaging and testing has been done at SCL, and that is the first indigenous microprocessor in the country which has come through such collaboration. Very closely, IIT Madras, IIT Bombay followed them, and they have also come up with an Ajit processor, which probably will be used for most of our NAVIC system. Like we are all habitual of GPS, but I think in the coming year, it is going to be NAVIC, which will be governed by our own IRNSS constellation, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite Constellation. And those all receivers probably will be utilizing that Ajit processor. So such collaborations are possible. Such beginnings are possible. Only things we have to believe ourselves. And we have seen that the current environment here in Punjab is really very conducive, and it is providing all kind of support which is needed for ESDM industry to come up. Thank you. I'd like to sum up with this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'll be inviting now Mr. Surinder Singh, Director SCL Mohali, Mr. Omkar Rai, Director General STPI, Ms. Tanu Kashyap, IS Director, Department of Information Technology, for exchanging of MOU in the presence of Mr. Anirudh Tiwari, IS Principal Secretary, Finance Punjab. Please. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you very much. Thank you. So I'll be inviting Mr. Anirudh Tiwari for presenting the mementos. Please, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Pleasure, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Samir, would you come in? Mr. Surinder Singh, sir. Thank you. So thank you very much, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. It was a great show. I want to congratulate the entire team behind. It was such a brilliant experience for me personally, from the government working with me, Dipinder, brilliant, Mr. Balbir Singh. I was so impressed with the whole show. So big congratulations